Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great week. It is Friday, August 29th. And let me get the local time here because that is my time. The local time is 1:19 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, local time here in Eugene, Oregon. So, this video is me talking about a load that I just booked, and we're going to do some trip planning. I just booked the load. I just got off the phone. I haven't even received the email giving me the details of the load yet. But we're going to do some trip planning. Let me show you the load first. So let me show you what's on my load alerts real quick. So let's go to this. All right, so for those of you who have been following the channel, you know that my expectation was that I was going to book one of these big multi-stop loads from Staten, Oregon to Williston, North Dakota. They look really enticing. They look really good. There were several of these loads posted last week and like Monday of this week. But if you followed the videos, you know that I was concerned about making it across California because I'm in this legal gray area with California where I'm not sure if I'm actually legal to drive through California. So I didn't want to book another load until I made it through California. By the time I made it through California, all of those loads were gone. There was one of these big multi-stop loads going to Missouri. There was one going to Texas. There was another one of these, this exact load going to Williston, North Dakota. And I think there was one more going, I can't remember. And these are all loads that are paying like $8,500 to $9,500 ballpark. Like I think up to like, they were basically $8,700 to like $9,700 full rate. Now, I have to explain this in every video, so I apologize to the people who watch all my videos that you have to hear this every video. But all of the prices, all of the rates that you see on the load board, those are the full rate. That includes everything. That includes fuel surcharge, stop pay, driver unload pay. It's everything. And I get a percentage cut of that. So whatever prices you see on here, I get about 70% of whatever you see on here. So this load for $8,700, let's do 8,700 times 0.7, $6,090. That's approximately what I would get paid gross to the truck off of that load that pays $8,700. That's what the customer is paying for the load, and I get a percentage of the line haul. I get 100%. I get 65% of the line haul, 100% of the fuel surcharge. I think I get 100% of driver unload pay. I'm not sure on stop pay and driver unload pay what percentage I get on all that stuff. So, anyway, after I finally made it to Oregon, made it through California, all of these big stop loads were gone off the load board. And there weren't any of them posted until just now. This Staten, Oregon to Williston, North Dakota is the first one that's been posted since I've been here. So I delivered my final delivery. My last load had 3 deliveries on it: Reno, Nevada, Redding, California, and Medford, Oregon. I made my final delivery in Medford, Oregon at like 7 a.m. Tuesday morning. And I drove to Eugene, Oregon, which is like 180 miles north of Medford. I drove to Eugene immediately after delivering, and there hasn't been a decent load posted on the load board since Tuesday. So Tuesday to Friday. Monday is a holiday, Labor Day. So this load got posted, Staten, Oregon to Williston, North Dakota, and I'm sitting here looking at the numbers on it, and I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, yeah, if you don't look at the details of the load, this looks good. A load paying almost $3 a mile, $8,700. But whenever you look at the details of the load, let's see what this does. Okay, yeah, it opens up a new tab. That's good. When you look at the details of the load, this person did not break down the accessorial pay. So all of the detail pay is not broken down in here. They just If I go to the old load board, I'm sure I'll be able to see it, but not on this load board. We look at the map, and the way this thing is broken down is just, it's hideous. So if you just think about this, do some, like, we can't see the exact stop pay and driver unload pay, but it's generally $50 extra per stop for extra stops, and then $50 for unloading. So there's 18 stops. So that would be $100 per stop. So that's $1,800 in stop pay and driver unload pay. So if we take $1,800 off of the 8698.55 minus 1,800, that makes the load $6,898.55. And now let's see what the rate per mile is this thing is paying. It's 2,965 miles. So this load's paying $2.32 a mile on the full rate, of which I get about 70%. So times 0.7, that's $1.62, rounded up to $1.63 a mile. So this is a really, really, really cheap load. Basically, they are not paying extra for stop pay and unload pay. What they're doing is they're reducing the line haul for the stop pay and unload pay that they have to pay. They're just reducing the line haul and shifting it into the line haul. It just really pisses me off when I sit here and think about it and see what they're doing. They're not paying extra for the stop and unload pay. They're just shifting numbers from here to there. So this is a pain in the butt load. Let's max this. And all of these little spots that you see on here, that's not all of the stops. Like, there's a stop in Grand Forks, North Dakota. There's a stop in Rapid City, South Dakota. So this is just the general route that they want you to take. This is not the exact route. As you can see, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and there's 19 total deliveries. There's 18 extra, 19 total. So there's 8 extra stops that are not on here. So you're going to be driving all over the place. A lot of these are like off the beaten path. So you're going to have to be doing some country bumpkin road driving. And you're going to be, like, there's a reason that they pay a lot extra for the stops and the driver unload pay. And you're just not getting paid extra for that stuff. So, I don't know. I could sit here and rant and rave about, like, how this load is not very good for a long time. But that's what I was sitting here thinking. I was like, well, why don't I just get a normal load, like, that's paying like $2.40 a mile, instead of hauling this crap that's going to be a ton of extra work. I'm going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to burn a lot of extra fuel because, like, this is a huge mileage load. This is almost, well, it's listed as 2,965 miles. And as you know, they're off by, a few miles on every single stop. It's like, so if you count up 19 total stops and they're off on the mileage on every single one of them, this thing could be 3,200 total miles. I would need the address of every single delivery location to be able to calculate up the total mileage, but they're not doing mileage to every single delivery. Like, whenever you get to Fargo, North Dakota, and then you have like 3 or 4 deliveries in Fargo, they're not counting all the mileage of you driving around Fargo making all of those deliveries. They just do it by zip code. So if there's like 0 miles from this zip code to this zip code, if they're right up against each other, then that's 0 miles according to them. So this mileage could be way off. So yeah, you're probably looking at 32, maybe even 3,300 total miles on this load. But anyway, let's not rant and rave about it anymore. The more I thought about how much they were screwing people over on this load, and they were paying them driver assist pay, $50 per driver unload. That's, whenever you're unloading the trailer, that's not a driver assist. So $50 is for an assist. An assist is like if you're hauling rolls of paper and the forklift driver asks you to pull up the friction pads, and so that he doesn't have to get off the forklift and pull up the friction pads after he pulls out a roll of paper. Because if you don't pull off the friction pads and the forklift drives onto the friction pads, then the forklift will spin on them and rip them up, and it'll cause a big mess inside the trailer. So you need to pull those out after each roll of paper. So a common driver assist is to pull, the driver will pull those friction pads out, throw them on a pallet after each paper roll is removed to save the forklift driver time from having to get off and do it himself. That's a driver assist. If I'm unloading the product to the end of the trailer, that's a driver unload, which is anywhere from like $150 or more. But these Landstar agents do not like to pay driver unloads. They will pay driver unloads as driver assists. They think that if a customer is helping you in any way to like load or unload the freight, that all you're doing is assisting. So if I take the freight from the trailer and put it at the end of the trailer, and then the customer goes and puts it away in the warehouse somewhere, Landstar agents for some reason see that as a driver assist. That's not a driver assist. If I'm taking things and from the end of the trailer and loading them into the trailer, or from the trailer to the end of the trailer, that's a driver load and unload. Whatever the customer does with the freight on their property in their warehouse, that's up to them. If they want to go drive it 10 miles and put it, on a rack somewhere, that's them. Loading it on and off of the trailer is loading and unloading. So anyway, I get really ticked off at driver loads and unloads at Landstar because the agents do not pay unload pay on almost anything. But anyway, I was sitting here thinking about this load, and I was just getting more and more mad. I was thinking about booking it, but I was just getting more and more mad at the thought of it. And I was looking at how much extra pay would I have to ask for to, make this worth my while. And it was looking at $1,500. $1,500 absolute minimum just to get this thing from $2.32 a mile up to I think it was that 50 cents a mile or was that 25 cents a mile? I can't remember. But $1,500 is what I wanted to get it up to where it was paying a decent amount of mileage rate. And the load and unload pay was actually bonus, not just part of the normal pay. And while I'm sitting there thinking about all this, and I'm just getting frustrated, and I'm just not wanting to deal with this agent at the way that they've, made this load, I decided to look and see what else was on the load board. And there was another load sitting on the load board. Let's look at that load. Gresham, Oregon to Fairburn, Georgia. So this is Portland to Atlanta. This is very similar to a load that I did last time I was up here. The last load that I took out of this area was the Dales, Oregon, which is like 100 miles east of Portland, to Fairburn, Georgia. This exact facility. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the exact same facility. But I have been to the Gresham, Oregon. This is the JQL agency that has the Google account. So I have been to both of these facilities. I'm familiar with them. And this is a really light load. What is it? Where's the weight at? 4,853 pounds. It's basically what I always haul for Google is just packaging materials. Google tries to reuse and recycle packaging materials. So this will be a load full of, I don't know, it could be plywood crates that some robotics or some conveyors were moved in, or it could be some type of boxes or plastic containers, who knows. But it's almost guaranteed it's some type of container material. And Google just lists all of their loads as electronics. I almost never haul electronics for Google, it's packaging material for electronics, which is why it's so light. So I called them up and I was like, can you guys do any better on this load? Like, this thing is really, really cheap. And they said that they had already increased the load by $850. They'd added $850 to the original price that they posted it at because it had sat on the load board for so long. And he took a look at it and he said, oh yeah, that thing is really cheap. Like, especially considering a lot of our loads are $4 and $5 a mile. He said, I'll check, but I don't think we're going to be able to increase it anymore because we've already raised the price by $850. So he went and he checked and he came back and he said, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't get any more on it because they've already raised the price by the maximum amount that we can, which is $850. Which is normal. Like, this is contract freight. I've had people in my comments, tell me that they've made some fairly negative comments. Let's not get into the details of it, but basically call me a dumbass because I don't negotiate rates on a lot of the loads that I haul. And the reason I don't negotiate rates is because almost every single load I haul is a contract load. It's a pre-negotiated rate. If I were booking I always negotiate rates when I haul spot market freight because that's not like a contract price. That's a fully negotiated price. But like the Google contract, they have contract negotiated rates. For them to change the price on that, basically what has to happen is the broker has to pay me out of their share for me to, get paid any extra. So I don't typically negotiate rates on contract freight, and that's almost all that I haul at Landstar. I have negotiated if I feel that the rates are really bad and like I can do better, then I will negotiate. I've like one of my favorite agents that I talk about all the time, Dawn DDB, Dawn Flores, that has the Maddox account out of Terrell, which I've had a lot of people respond to videos and say it's not Terrell, it's Terrell. I don't know if that's true, but we'll go with Terrell and see how many comments that I get of people saying it's not Terrell, it's Terrell. But anyway, back when we were at all-time high freight market, she posted a load for like $3 a mile. And I was like, man, that's tempting. And it was going from like Dallas to Seattle, Portland area. And I was like, that's tempting, but man, I would really feel a lot more comfortable if it had $1,000 more on it. And she was like, this is already the highest paying load on the load board out of the Dallas market. And I was like, yeah, but it's just, I could sit around and wait and get another load that's going to go up to Seattle, Portland area that's going to pay that. She's like, well, I'll check, but I don't think they're going to pay, $1,000 extra on the load. And she came back within like 30 seconds and she was like, they agreed to it. So yes, I occasionally negotiate rates on contract freight, but right now in the bad freight market that we're in, the bad economy that we're in, all the leverage is on the customer and the broker. Like, I have no leverage to negotiate. So I rarely negotiate. The market is just, we're in a bad freight market, which is because of a bad economy, but it's also the reason we're in a bad freight market is because we just have so damn many trucks. We have so much foreign labor in the trucking industry that it's just flooded with trucks. And some good news on that, I've heard, this accident that happened, where did it happen? I think it happened in Florida, where somebody that was not even here on a work visa, they were just in the country illegally, and California gave them a CDL. I didn't even know that was a thing, that you could get a CDL if you're in the country illegally. Like, I can't believe that. He had a CDL and he had a work permit that the Biden administration gave him. That is insane. No wonder people come into the country illegally. If we're just going to hand out stuff like that. But yeah, he did a U-turn on an interstate, killed 3 people, and that has brought trucking into the national spotlight. And I heard rumor that they're actually going to stop issuing H-1B visas for the trucking industry. Right now, if you want to hire, somebody in another country to work for your trucking company, it's basically unlimited visas right now. It's one of the easiest ways to get a work visa. That's the reason, in my opinion, that the trucking industry is so oversaturated with trucks and foreign labor, is because of how easy it is for people to move to the United States under a work visa by getting into trucking. But anyway, that's another discussion. But the freight market sucks, so I don't have a lot of leverage. I tried to negotiate this rate higher. They told me that they've already increased it as much as they can, and I said, all right, fine, I'll take it. So if I didn't take this load, then I'm going to have to set through the holiday weekend, and freight is usually slow the week after a holiday. I could book that Staten, Oregon load right here, but it doesn't pick up. It looks like it picks up between the 3rd and 4th. So it looks like you have to leave your trailer with them for 24 hours to load the trailer. So I would be sitting until Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So I'd basically be setting for another week if I book the Staten, Oregon load. So I decided to go ahead and book this Google load that picks up in Portland, and it picks up tomorrow at 9 a.m. And now we get to, let me check and see. I'm not running multiple monitors right now, so I'm having to flip back and forth. And by the way, if you see a phone number, I'm trying to block out the agent phone numbers, but I can't block them all out without editing the video, and I don't edit videos. If you see an agent phone number, this is a private load board. Don't call these phone numbers if you're not on the private load board. If you're not leased to Landstar, don't call these numbers. You're not going to get these rates. And they're going to assume that you are a Landstar driver, you're a Landstar contractor, if you call these numbers. And they're going to ask you for your truck number and stuff like that. So don't waste everybody's time. So I need to do, this is going to take a while. We're going to do some trip planning. We need to do some fuel route planning. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get my route on a map. And then once I have my route on the map, then I'm going to look at the fuel prices along that route and figure out my fuel route. So I'm going to pause this while I pull up the email and I get the exact addresses that I'm picking up and delivering. So let me pause this. Alright, so I've got the route put in. We have where I'm at, right here at the TA Travel Center in just north of Eugene in Coburn. Is it Coburn? Where's the town name at? Yeah, I'm pretty sure is it Coburg or Coburn? That's Coburg Road. I gotta zoom to the right level where it shows me the city name. Well, I guess since I have a plot point set there, it's not giving me the, yeah, it's Coburg. There we go, Coburg, Oregon. So just north of Eugene at this TA, this is where I'm at right now. I'm at the very back. I'm in this spot right here, where this truck is at next to the car wash. I'm at the very back of the lot, and I picked this spot because the spot next to me is a straight back. I usually pick my spots. I want to be facing north for temperature reasons because the sun is to the south. I don't want the sun coming straight in through the front windshield. It's like an oven in here if it does. And then I try to pick a spot where spots on either side of me are easy to get into. And both spots on either side of me are straight backs. And I'm just below half a tank of fuel right now, so I can drive somewhere in the ballpark of 600 miles on the fuel that I have right now. So now let's zoom out. So if we go over here to the pickup location, it's about 125 miles. So a little over 2 hours. The speed limit near Portland is 55 for trucks. So it's going to be 60 mile per hour speed limit until I get closer to Portland. Then it's going to drop down to 55. So it's going to be like 2.5 hour drive to get to the place. I'm probably going to wait until in the morning and then leave real early in the morning. I'm probably going to leave at probably like, I don't know, 5 a.m. or something, and get there at like 7:30. I'll get there like an hour and a half early. But I know at this location that I can park and wait. I've been to this location several times. So I know that I can just park and wait for them to put me into a dock. And the next thing, so that right there is the first part of the trip plan. When do I need to leave to pick the load up? Do I need to leave now, or do I need to leave in the morning? Like, how long is it going to take me to get there? Can I park on the property? All that stuff. Okay, we got that figured out. I'm going to leave somewhere probably around 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. The next thing I need to figure out is overall how tight is the schedule on this. So this picks up August 30th, Saturday, at 9 a.m. And it doesn't deliver until Thursday, September 4th. Let me pause this and just double check that. You know what? I just realized we don't need to pause this because I still have the load pulled up here, right? Yeah, September 4th at 10 a.m. September 4th at 10 a.m. And it is a little over 2,600 miles. So let's think about that. If we do an average of 600 miles per drive shift, that would be a little over 4 drive shifts. And it is how many total days? So we have the 30th, 31st, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We do not have the 4th. It delivers real early on the 4th. So we have 5 days, and I need about 4 drive shifts. So if you're looking at it from a daily perspective, you can do more than a drive shift per day. A drive shift is about 12 hours, and then you have a 10-hour break. That's 22 hours, and then you have another 2 hours. So you can do about 720 miles per day pretty easily, as long as you're not one of those people that's constantly stopping. So 720 miles per day, not drive shift, but per 24-hour period, is pretty easy to do. So we have, how many days did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have about 5 days. And it's going to, at 720, so 2,600 divided by 720. It's going to take about 3.5 days to get there. And we have 5 days. So I'm going to have an extra day and a half on this load. Why is this saying... Oh, okay, never mind. So we have a lot of extra time. The other thing that I want to consider here is this the route that I want to take? Last time I did this load, that is not the route that I took. I drove through I drove at Kansas City instead of driving across to St. Louis. I drove south through Joplin, and then I hopped onto some highway and cut across to Memphis, Tennessee, and then took 22 down to 20 and took 20 into Atlanta. Now that's like 20 miles further, but you don't have to drive through St. Louis and Nashville. I think it's cheaper fuel. That's probably what I'm going to do again this time, because this Interstate 75 is a cluster. I really would like to avoid it. So let's put a plot point right here in West Memphis, Arkansas of the TA truck stop. Where are these things at? Are they? These are all residential. Oh, there it is. Let's just go ahead and choose the Flying J. Let's add that stop. Did it put it in the correct order? Oh my goodness. Google actually put it in the correct order. It almost never does that. I have to always reorder stuff when I put it in there. So, yep, that looks like the route. Coming over to Missouri 13. Is that what this is? This should be, yeah, Missouri 13. It's a really nice road. Nice divided highway. And then it's nice divided highway basically until you get to Arkansas, and then it turns into a nasty bidirectional, but it's not very long. It's, I don't know, 60 to 90 miles, 60 to 100 miles of bidirectional through Arkansas, and then it turns into Interstate like 555. Yeah, Interstate 555. I've driven on it a few times. So it increased the mileage by 18 miles to go this route. So now let's look at fuel. Unfortunately, I can't look at fuel on the map on here, so we're going to have to do the fuel route. Now, the fuel prices that I'm going to talk about, this is the raw fuel price. The price that I look at is, okay, so you have the pump price. Let's say the pump price is $5 a gallon. And then you get a 6-cent per gallon discount by using either cash or a fuel card. And then you get another discount on top of that for my fuel card discount. And let's say that all of that brings the price down to $4 a gallon. And then you have fuel tax. Well, in California, the fuel tax is like $1 a gallon. In Oklahoma, it's like 19 cents a gallon. In Texas, it's 20 cents a gallon. It's different in every state. Whenever you pay fuel tax at the pump, all you're doing is prepaying fuel tax. It has nothing to do with how much fuel tax you pay. Our fuel tax is determined by miles driven in each state. We have to track the number of miles we drive in each state. So if you are using the fuel tax at the pump to determine like what you're buying, then you're doing it wrong. That's just prepaying taxes. Every quarter we get flush with our taxes. And, you know, if you didn't pay in any taxes, then you're going to owe. If you overpaid, you'll get a refund. Oregon doesn't charge fuel tax at the pump, so their fuel prices look really cheap. So you might actually end up paying like 20-30 cents a gallon extra for fuel if you buy fuel in Oregon. You think it's just super cheap here because they don't charge fuel tax at the pump. So anyway, I could make an entire video explaining why you should not use fuel tax to choose where you're buying fuel, but let's leave it at that. Okay, so I already put 60 gallons in here in Coburg, and my price here is $3.19. I'll show you what it looks like. So the pump price is $4.89 per gallon. I think that includes the 6 cent per gallon discount that you get. So I think it's actually like $4.95 a gallon if you are paying with a credit card. So I think the $4.89 a gallon already includes the 6 cent per gallon discount for paying cash or fuel card. Then we have a Landstar discount of $1.70 a gallon. That gives you some idea of how much they're ripping people off at these truck stops and basically everywhere you get fuel. They're making money hand over fist right now. Fuel prices are absurdly high, and it's irrationally high. Their profit margins are insane. And then the state IFTA tax credit is zero because they don't charge any fuel tax at the pump. So let me switch over to where I can see the camera. And let's switch over to just me, and I'll show you what that looks like. So, all right, come on. Change your focus. It's not focusing on it. It's still blurry, but I think it's good enough that you can see it, kind of. So $4.89 a gallon, $1.70 a gallon discount, and zero in tax because they don't charge tax at the pump here in Oregon. That's the highest discount. I just want to say this up front. That is the highest discount I have ever seen. I've seen $1 a gallon discount. 70 cent a gallon discount is like really common. $1 a gallon is fairly common. Anything over $1 a gallon discount is not too common. And I have never seen anything as high as $1.70 a gallon discount. This is the highest discount I have ever seen. Now, occasionally you'll see some ridiculous discounts at mom and pop stops, like mom and pop truck stops, but I don't trust any of that stuff. If you call and get the real fuel prices, they're different. I don't even look at mom and pops on Landstar's fuel app because they're not updated. So they'll have really out-of-date information, and it's just a huge waste of time, so I don't even look at them. So now let's go back to the browser, and let's figure out, oh no, I didn't want to do that. Okay, all right, I think we're good. All right. So we have about a 600-mile range that we have to get fuel. So let's figure out our first fuel stop. So my fuel cost here in Coburg, after that $1.70 a gallon discount, my fuel price is $3.19 a gallon. Oh my goodness. The rest of these places are like $4.37 a gallon. All right, so up in Aurora, Oregon, where I usually hang out just south of Portland, $3.17 a gallon at the TA. And let's see what the Flying J is. $3.24 a gallon. So 7 cents a gallon more expensive at the Flying J. The TA in Troutdale is $3.18. Let's see what the Loves is right next door to it. I have to zoom way in because they're so close together. $3.77 at Loves after discount. Let's see what our Loves discount is. See if it's a flat discount. No, it's 71 cents a gallon is our discount at Loves. So pump price is $4.48 a gallon. Again, it's probably including a 6 cent per gallon discount for cash or fuel card. And then we get a 71 cent per gallon discount at Loves. And these fuel prices are insane. All right, and then they just keep getting more and more expensive. Let's find the first place where it's cheaper than $3.18 a gallon. Okay. We got. Oh, we've got a Flying J in Caldwell, basically the Boise area. Let me see. I'm having to zoom in because some of these are so close together to get the different prices. All right, so in the Boise area, TA is $2.85 a gallon, and Flying J is $2.94 a gallon. So 9 cent per gallon difference. Pretty big difference. So can I make it to Boise? Let's see what the mileage is to Boise. 561 miles. That is cutting it real close. And it's how much a gallon cheaper? It's like $3.19, so 19 plus 15, that's 34 cents a gallon cheaper. But that's cutting it real close. My fuel gauge is not like real accurate, and I am, well, the truck's not on right now. I don't even know why I'm looking over there. I'm just a little below. Like with being really, really light, I can get good miles per gallon, but I'm also going to be driving through quite a few mountains, which destroys your mile per gallon. Like you can go down to like 3 miles per gallon driving through mountains. So I'll probably throw in 60 gallons just so that I can safely make it to Boise, because it's going to cost me probably a few $100s if I run out of fuel on the way to Boise. And if I have to fuel up at one of these places before I get to Boise, that's going to cost me a lot of extra money as well. So might as well just throw in 60 gallons here, get a shower, and just not risk it. So I'll throw in 60 gallons here at this truck stop, and then top off. Let's see, Boise's 285, and then it gets down to 279 in Snowville, Utah, at a Flying J. Ooh, we might be switching back to Flying J. 279. Yeah, Flying J is like the cheapest fuel across Wyoming. $264 at the Flying J in Grand Island. And then 261 in Nebraska City. I think that's in Iowa. Now let's check West Memphis, Arkansas. Which is usually some of the cheapest fuel you can get in the country. All right, so the Flying J in West Memphis is $2.52 a gallon. The Petro is $2.46 a gallon. Huh. 6 cents a gallon cheaper at the Petro. And in the Atlanta area, well, there's a Flying J that's $2.58 a gallon, but that's not on my route. That's up on 75. On I-20, there's a Flying J that's $2.62, and it looks like the cheapest TA Petro is $2.68, so 6 cents a gallon more expensive. So I really like to fuel at the same place all the time. So, alright, right now it's looking like... What's the mileage all the way to Snowville? $815 miles. I can make it all the way to Snowville if I put like 50 or 60 gallons in. So, Flying J in Snowville. And then I can make it all the way to Nebraska City. So 279 in Snowville. What was it in Nebraska City? Was it 261? Yeah, 261. So 279, 261. And then top off again in West Memphis at, was it 252? Yeah, 252. So in some of these areas, Flying J is cheaper. In some of these areas, TA is cheaper. Basically, it flips back and forth by about 6 cents per gallon on which one's cheaper. I've been using TA Petro for the last, when I first started with Landstar, there was nobody was close to TA Petro. So I used TA Petro until about 2 years ago. About 2 years ago, Pilot Flying J became competitive on Landstar's fuel card. So I switched to Pilot Flying J because they were almost the exact same price as TA Petro, but the reward program is way better. So just in this last trip, I switched back to TA Petro because TA Petro was consistently like 6 cents a gallon cheaper than Pilot Flying J. Now on this route, Pilot Flying J is cheaper throughout most of the route, and there's a couple of spots where TA Petro is cheaper. So now I just got to figure out where I'm putting in my 50 to 60 gallons. Initially, I was going to get it right here at the truck stop that I'm at, but if I'm going to do Pilot Flying J across the entire route, let's see if we can't. So 319 versus 324. Huh. You know what? That might actually save me some money. Because it's 60 gallons to get a shower credit at TA Petro, and it's only 50 at Pilot Flying J. So I have a little under a half a tank, so I can go roughly 600 miles on what I have. And if I put in 50 gallons, then that'll get me, if we do it at 6 miles per gallon, which is a very conservative estimate, that's 300 miles. That should get me somewhere right around 900 miles. And it's 815 miles to Snowville. So yeah, I think instead of getting fuel here, I'll throw in 50 gallons at the Pilot Flying J to get a shower credit. And every 50 gallons also bumps you up a level in the reward point system. So yeah, I'll stop in Aurora, Oregon. I don't like stopping there because it is a pain to get in and out of that place. I hope they're done with the construction. Last time I was there, they had a bunch of construction going on. But I should be going through there so early in the morning that there should be almost no traffic or very little traffic. I might leave a little earlier. I might try to leave at like... Oh, no. Wait a second. I'm going to be leaving here real early, but I'll be getting there right around the time that traffic starts picking up. So yeah, I might leave earlier than I anticipated so that I can get in and out of that Pilot Flying J, because that thing can be a nightmare to get in and out of. Throw in 50 gallons there. Yeah, that's the fuel route that I'm going to do. I'm going to do all Pilot Flying J this time. We're switching back to Pilot Flying J. I have one TA shower credit that is good until Tuesday, so I need to use it by Monday night. I just took a shower last night. So I'll stop on a TA Petro on the way down there, or when I get down there, and take a shower and use that shower credit. The TA Petro shower credits only last 7 days. The Pilot Flying J's last 10. But yeah, this looks like the route we're going to do. And basically the fuel stops are Aurora, Oregon. Put in 50 gallons at $3.24 a gallon. And then I'm going to make it all the way to Snowville, which is just across the border into Utah. And top off fuel at $2.79 a gallon. And that'll get me all the way to Nebraska City, where I'm going to top off fuel again at $2.61 a gallon. And that'll get me down to West Memphis, Arkansas, where I'll top off fuel again at $2.52 a gallon. And that'll be the last fuel stop on this trip. There is a fly in here that's driving me crazy. Whenever I have a fly in the truck, that's like my focus. Like, I have to get rid of that fly, kill it or get it out of the truck before I can do anything. I just can't stand flies. So now I have to think about sleep. I woke up at like 8 a.m. local time, which was, it's now 2:19 p.m. local time. So I'm going to have to try to go to sleep early. I might not get a full drive shift because I'm probably not going to be able to sleep for very long before I pick up the load. And I'm going to have to set through, getting loaded and all that stuff. So the first drive shift is probably not going to be a full drive shift. I don't know. I'll figure out. I do drive shifts. I don't try to do all that in advance. I just try to do my fuel route in advance. And then I do drive shifts one at a time. I figure it out just, I usually plan my stopping locations. I'll figure that out at the beginning of my drive shift or on my 30-minute break during my drive shift. Because there's just, so much stuff going on the road that there's so many potential delays. So what am I making on this load? Let's figure out what I'm making. I don't even really want to figure it out because it's so cheap. So, let's do 63680. No, 6368 minus 1118, which is the fuel surcharge. That comes to 5,250. I'm pretty sure deadhead is at the 65% rate, so we're just going to have that in the line haul. So times 5,250 times 0.65, that comes to 3412.50. And then we add the fuel surcharge back in because I get 100% of that. Let's do plus 1118 equals $4,530.50. So what I'm getting paid on this load, gross to the truck, is $4,530.50. Let's divide that by the mileage, 25.93. So I'm going to be making $1.75 a mile if you round up. That's not very good. But we got paid really well to come up here. And the reason it paid really well is because the freight coming out of this area pays crap. So we're getting paid crap. We're actually getting paid really well based on all the other loads. This is actually a really good load if you compare it to all the other loads in this area. The other loads in this area are really bad. So we're actually making a decent amount of money on this load. And we're getting to roll through the holiday instead of sitting here through the holiday using a whole bunch of fuel. And the highs are like 90 degrees. Like today is an abnormally cool day where like I've just got the windows rolled down and right now it's 79 degrees inside the truck, which is a comfortable temperature with the fan blowing on me. It can get up to 85 degrees inside the truck with the fan blowing on me, but generally, if there's not direct sunlight on the truck will be about 10 degrees hotter than whatever the outside temperature is. But if I'm parked directly into the sun, it can get 20 or 30 degrees hotter inside the truck than whatever the outside temperature is. So if it's 100 degrees outside, I can have the windows down and the fan on, and if the sun is pointed directly at the front windshield, it can get up to 130 degrees inside this truck with the windows down. It just gets intolerable. But right now, what's the temperature outside? According to this, it says the temperature outside is 77 degrees, and it's 79 degrees in the truck because we're parked in shade. Now, as we get later in the day, the trees are no longer going to be blocking the sun, and the left side of my truck is going to be exposed to the sun, and it's going to get really hot in here because of that. So, yeah. If I continue staying here through the holiday weekend, I'm going to use a whole bunch of fuel idling the truck for air conditioning in the afternoons with highs in the 90s. So, this is going to get me rolling, make money through the holiday, and hopefully just keep on rolling after that. I really have no reason to want to go home. So out of Atlanta, it would be really nice if I could find another really nice big load headed back to the Seattle-Portland area out of the Atlanta area. That would be awesome if I could get a nice, good paying load. But last time I was in Atlanta, the loads sucked. There are lots of loads coming out of Atlanta, but the pay was terrible. Like, I could get loads that paid more coming out of Dallas going to Portland than Atlanta going to Portland, even though it's like much longer mileage. But that's the load that I have. And now I just need to. I've got food warming up, so somebody recommended, because I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I brought tortilla shells because I noticed I've been looking for something to use as a like bread for sandwiches. Because I've been thinking about bringing sandwiches on the truck, but the meat lasts a while, the cheese lasts forever. You know, all the ingredients, lettuce, tomato, onion, all that stuff can last for a month or two if you store it properly. The only problem is the bread. The bread only lasts like 1 to 2 weeks, and you can freeze the bread, but man, once once you freeze the bread, I don't like bread after it's been frozen. But I found that tortilla shells last for like 2 months. So I brought some tortilla shells with me, and I didn't really have a big plan to use them. And somebody recommended, well, you've got beans. Why don't you make bean burritos? And that's I'd already thought of that idea, but yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. What I've been living off of is I have chicken, like slow. I guess you'd call it baked chicken. It's just slow cooked on a pan at like 200 degrees Fahrenheit for like an hour and a half. And oh my goodness, it comes out really, really good. So what I've been doing is chicken and beans and cheese and onions with some sriracha, and basically making burritos, chicken and bean and cheese and onion burritos. And wow, they're really good. They're really good, really good. And that's what I have warming up right now in my little warming thing, is beans and chicken. And so I'm about to eat some more burritos, and then we're going to get rolling. And I'm probably going to end up hanging out at the same Pilot Flying J that I hung out last time. Let's go back to the map. Oh, I love it when it just like zooms, like it's fighting with me. I'm trying to zoom in and it keeps zooming out. I don't know if I'm going to take this road. Last time I just drove into Atlanta into the 285, and then took the 285 down, and then took the interstate back out to the place. But this place I'm delivering to this time is different. This is a different location. I haven't bothered with locating the truck entrance to this place yet. I'll figure that out later. It looks like the truck entrance is probably right here. So that's permanently closed. This looks like it's gated, but it looks like a car entrance and possibly a truck exit. So that might actually be the exit for trucks. I doubt it. Just looking at everything, this looks like the truck entrance and exit. And I think I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm not going to drive on these state roads or whatever these, dirt roads are. I'm going to drive all the way into Atlanta, take the 285 down, and then hop onto the 85 and take the 85 over here to the Duracell. And I'll probably end up camping out at the same Pilot Flying J that I hung out at last time. Right here it is. Last time I parked back here in one of these, and oh man, it was so nice. So nice. So I'm going to get there like a day or two early And this is where I'm most likely going to hang out. I'm going to try to get the same spot that I got last time back here in this row. You know what? I might try to get one of these spots down here, but I think all these are reserved. You can see the paint where it's kind of written reserved all along these. So this would be my ideal row because it's north facing, but all of those spots I'm pretty sure are reserved. But the trees right here block some of the evening sun. They're pretty tall trees, so parking in this area wasn't too bad. When I first got there, I parked right here in one of these spots, and I did not like that because these are actually not parking spots right here. You're supposed to be able to drive through this area, but people park in the middle of the roadway right here, and people park at the end of the rows here, so it forces people to get into really tight turns through here, and I just didn't like being in this little area because of everybody creatively parked. But yeah, I like this little Flying J, this Pilot Flying J. Oh, there's a Pilot right across the street over here. So yeah, that's where I'll sit and wait for my appointment. But that's pretty much the trip plan. And I have plenty of time to get there. I have like an extra day and a half. So I should get there early enough to do a 34. So that if there is another like big load that picks up right after I deliver, then I can go do that load. Let's go back over here and look at the load again. This is it. This is the load. Gresham, Oregon to Fairburn, Georgia. And I get to keep my trailer. I've got a decent trailer. There's nothing that I really dislike about the trailer except that it's like an old trailer. It's like a really old trailer, but everything works fine on it. I don't have any issues with it. And it doesn't have any odd configuration settings like the trailer I had before this one. The marker lights in the center of the trailer did not operate as flashers, which almost all modern trailers, those marker lights double as turn signals as well. They're only required to be marker lights. Any additional functionality is extra. But there's a lot of DOT people that just don't understand the rules, and I don't want to argue at an inspection because those lights don't flash. So I don't like having trailers that do abnormal things. So I didn't like that trailer. And then I had a trailer a few trailers back that every time you'd set the trailer brakes, it had a dump valve where it would just dump all of the air out of the trailer. So if you ever set the trailer brakes, the trailer would drop like 6-8 inches because the airbags would deflate, and you'd have to set every time you get going after setting the trailer brakes, you'd have to like wait for like 5 to 10 minutes for the air tank and the airbags and everything on the trailer to inflate back up. And basically everywhere that I delivered when I had that trailer asked me to keep the trailer aired up so that it would be like even with their dock, because when it deflated it would get really low and they couldn't get in and out of the trailer. So yeah, basically like it was I don't like leaving the trailer brakes not set whenever there's forklifts coming in and out of the trailer. I don't like that. So I mean, so I don't have any of those issues with this trailer. The only problem with this trailer is it's old. But I'll take it. I'll hold on to that. So I'm good with the trailer, and I'm going to be able to hang on to this trailer throughout the entire trip. It's live, and I like that. I prefer that. I do not like doing preloadeds or dropping hooks because I don't like playing the trailer lottery. But that's the load. Now I've got a few hours, and I need to try to get to bed as early as I can tonight. It usually doesn't cool. It gets really hot in the evenings, and it doesn't start cooling off until about like midnight, 1 a.m. So what I'm probably going to do tonight so that I can get a decent night's rest is I'm going to idle the truck for air conditioning and try to get to bed as early as I can. And I'm going to think about when to leave here, because I don't want to deal with morning traffic. It is a Saturday, but I was really surprised on the way here by how bad traffic was in Reno, Nevada. Wait, was that Reno, Nevada? Where was I driving on the weekend that I was surprised at how bad traffic was? So it wasn't Reno. Was it Vegas? I drove through Vegas Saturday morning. Yeah, it must have been Vegas that I was surprised at how bad traffic was. So I'll probably end up getting to the shipper a couple of hours early, which should not be a big deal. And I can just park in one of their docks and wait for them to open up. And hopefully the pallet warehouse across the street from them is closed on the weekend, because that place is crazy busy. Like, there are tons of trucks going in and out of that place. I hope they're closed on the weekend. And then that place is going to be desolate. It's going to be empty if that place is closed on the weekend. There's going to be like nobody there. We'll see. We'll see. But I'm probably going to end up getting there really, really early to try to avoid traffic. Yeah. And then there's basically no traffic I'm going to have to deal with along the whole drive. The Boise Caldwell area will be, decent traffic, but it's not going to be too bad. And then I can time driving through Kansas City to where I do it in the middle of the night, and that won't be bad at all. And I want to time driving through the Memphis area in the middle of the night, because that can get bad during the daytime. So yeah, I am going to want to switch to nighttime driving by the time I get to Kansas City. But anyway, that's what's going on with me. I know that there are a lot of people requesting load board videos. Those are really popular. People want to see them. But the reason I haven't done a load board video for the last few days, while I've been sitting here this week, is because you're trying to look at the load board videos to gather information. And we're coming into a holiday weekend, and the load board is abnormal. You don't want to be making decisions about moving over to Landstar or becoming an owner-operator or whatever based off of incorrect information, old information, or bad information. And if I were to do a load board video leading into a holiday weekend, it's going to be abnormal. There's going to be fewer loads, the rates are going to be lower, everything's going to be worse. So I just haven't bothered doing a load board video. I try not to do load board videos during abnormal things. I try to do load board videos like in the morning whenever the load board is active, and during a weekday, and outside of a holiday area. Where the hell did that fly go? Alright, I've got to hunt down a fly. This guy's been driving me crazy the whole video. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. I decided not to do this Staten, Oregon 18 extra stop load that finished in Williston, North Dakota. And I opted to do the Google load instead. They were both really light loads. This one was only 11,700 pounds, and the Google load was 4,853 pounds. Nearly identical loads, except the load going to Williston, North Dakota had a couple $1,000s in stop pay and unload pay. And I would just prefer not to do all that. Plus, I would have to wait another week to pick that load up. So, I'll be sitting for a week waiting on that load. Now, we get to roll through the holiday weekend and make a decent amount of money. And we're going to a freight market that has a lot of loads where it doesn't actually pay very well. Which reminds me, let's go over to this. Let's edit this search. And let's change it from Eugene, Oregon to, let's just do Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia. Eight available loads based off of these settings. Do we want to do 150? Let's do 200 miles. It did not go up on... I'm just wondering how far Nashville is. Let's do 250. All right, we'll do a 250-mile radius, because last time I ended up having to drive to Nashville to find a load. Let's look and see what loads there are. Sweetwater, Tennessee to Wilmer, Texas. All right, let's sort this by revenue. Portland, Tennessee to Portland, Tennessee. Plastics or rubber. 4 extra stops, 3,200 miles. Wow. $8,300 load. Let's take a peek at it. Great, great, great. Let me pause this. It logged me out. All right. All right, so what we got here? Portland to Portland. In the comments, it says 2 round trips. Tennessee, Ohio, Tennessee. Then pick up loaded trailer back. Tennessee, Tennessee, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee. What? So you're taking one load from Tennessee to Ohio back to Tennessee, and then you're taking a second load from Tennessee to Arkansas to Texas back to Tennessee. So they just like slapped 2 loads together. That's one of the shady tactics agents will use whenever they can't move bad loads. They'll start stacking a whole bunch of bad loads together to get the total revenue up, which is what a lot of people use to determine what loads to take. Like, all of these loads have extra stops on them. Every single load on this page has extra stops. That's not good. Alright, so now let's go back to the search and edit, and let's change the start date to September 4th. Oh, there's 6 loads available to pick up after the 4th? And they're all really cheap loads. Eight days on this load. That's like a week and a half long load. Man, this fly is really aggressive. It just keeps flying and landing on me and stuff. I'm looking forward to killing this thing. So you go, oh yeah, this is a definite no. So you go from Atlanta up to West Virginia, or what is this? Where are you going to? Virginia? You're getting up near the Baltimore area, which I don't like getting anywhere close to Baltimore. So this is the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area you're driving up near. Like, this might be multiple loads slammed together as one. Who knows what in the world this crap is. Well, hopefully better loads pop up, but we have the load alert set up now for September 4th or later. And we should wrap up the video. That's what's going on with me. That's the trip plan. And tomorrow morning I'll be picking up a load in Portland and making my way to Atlanta. I was really bummed out thinking that I was going to have to set through the holiday weekend sitting here using a bunch of fuel idling at the truck stop. And now I have a load where I'm going to be making some money through the holiday weekend. And what was it paying me? $4,530.50. It's not amazing for a coast-to-coast run, but better than nothing. I'm going to be using a lot of fuel on this. I mean, it's a really light load. It's only 5,000 pounds. So let's say that I'm able to average 8 miles per gallon. Let's figure this out. So it's 2,718 miles. Divide that by 8. What in the hell is going on here? Divide by... That's 339. We'll round it up to 340 gallons. So 340 times 3. I'm going to use about $1,000 in fuel. $1,020 is what it's going to cost me in fuel, approximately. It's going to be more than that because I'm going to have idle time and stuff like that, and that's a pretty high mile per hour average. So we'll say $1,200 in fuel to, like, that'd be a lot more reasonable. $1,200 in fuel. So I'm going to be making $3,300 after fuel cost. That's not very good. That's getting really close to what a good line haul driver makes at an LTL. Is like $2,500 gross per week. So I'm only going to be making $3,300, and I have other expenses that are going to be coming out of that. So this to people who don't understand the business, they don't understand all the expenses and everything. This looks like a good load, but it's actually not. I'm going to be making company driver money hauling this load. After all the expenses, I'm going to be making company driver money on this load. Now, it's going to be good company driver money. It's going to be at the higher end of company driver money, but it's going to be company driver money that I'm going to be making on this load. It's probably going to be close to, like, I don't know, like $2,800 after, net to the business after all expenses. But you know what's really awesome about this? That's the negative. Let's look at the positive. The positive is that I didn't sit for very long. I delivered on Tuesday, and I'm picking up on Saturday. That's only like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days that I sat in between loads, which is a really short amount of time for me. Normally, I'll sit for 1 to 2 weeks in between loads. So this is pretty awesome that I'm going to be able to get running again. And I am looking forward to switching back over to Pilot Flying J. The only thing I really like about TA Petro is that there's almost never a line for showers, and TA Petro has much better showers than anyone else. And I know some people say that TA Petro has the worst showers because they're old, but I don't really care about how new or old something is. TA Petro showers, even if they're older, they're usually better. They're made out of, better materials. They're just better. Like, I've been to brand new Loves where the showers are crap and they're, lukewarm, and they're terrible. Whereas TA Petro, almost no one gives you 2 towels anymore, but about the only place I've ever gotten 2 towels is TA Petro. The shower here, they gave me 2 towels. The shower at the last TA Petro gave 2 towels. It's still common to get 2 full-size towels, plus a floor towel, plus a hand towel, a washcloth, at TA Petros. Whereas at most truck stops now, all you get is the washcloth, and a lot of them are trying to just give you a regular towel and a washcloth, and that's it. You have to ask them or beg them for a floor towel. So, yeah, that's the only thing I really like about TA Petros is the showers. Because their reward program is so bad, they almost never have lines for showers. Whereas the Loves and Pilot Flying J reward programs are so good that people will use shower credits to just go in and use the restroom because they have so many credits. Like, they're on the unlimited credits, plus they're getting credits from fueling up, and they just have so many credits that they'll go in and book a shower just to go in and take a 30-minute crap. And that really clogs up the shower lines. So that's about the only positive thing I can say about TA Petro. Oh, their shops are also the best. TA Petros have the best shops out of the 3 majors. But anyway, this fly is driving me crazy, and my food should be warmed up. Ooh, just a second. Stay there. Oh my goodness. Oh, he went right back to the same spot. No. I don't think I got him. Like, he's really aggressive. I did not get him. But he's also very, nervous. I can't get close to him without him flying off. I might just try to run him out of here. But if I run him out, I know he'll just come right back in. He's in the exact same spot. Another trick I'll use to try and get him is isopropyl alcohol. I keep this spray bottle full of isopropyl alcohol. And if I can get a good squirt on him, that'll ground him. Alright, it's fly hunting time, so let me end the video. We're in the truck. It's starting to get hot. It's up to 85 degrees in here now. So, I'll just deal with it for now, and then when I get ready to try to go to sleep, I'll close the windows and idle the truck. But anyway, just booked a load. Thought I'd give you a heads up, an update on me, and then I'm going to be heading back out over the road tomorrow morning. So have a good one. Bye.